wear an SCBA air pack that are certified by the state to effect this rescue. If you do not have the certifications, you have no business going into a burning building. And you are not trained to affect these kind of emergencies. There's a lot that this town needs to do to improve as far as, you know, how are we going to take this moving forward? What do we, as my wife said, what do we expect and what do we want from our emergency responders? We should have a minimal standard. You know, one thing we could possibly look at too is regionalizing maybe with Bristol or the town of Franklin. We already have a contract with them for EMS providing. Let's talk to them and say, what about taking over administrative roles? Doing more with them, training together. It's a possibility. There are several towns in this state that do have two towns have a single fire department or work together. So there's different models out there that we can look at for the future and how we can expand our emergency services and the training for our personnel. But if you have any questions, feel free to meet me afterwards. Take a look at those documents, and I can get the copies of you for those as well.
Thank you.
Yep.
How does that work? You said if we want to ask questions to...
You can, yep, go ahead.
No, just remind me of the rules.
3 minutes.
Yep.
You get 3 minutes to speak and 3 minutes for a rebuttal or a question. You can hold your question. We have other speakers.
I don't think anybody in this room is saying that we don't want certified people, right? Nobody in this room, right? But my opinion, I was the one that came up with the idea at one time to have Bristol take us over, okay? And I did research on it and thinking about what that would entail. Right now, we pay town of Bristol $70,000 a year.
Use the mic.
So,
Is he addressing us or is he addressing the board?
I'm sorry, you're absolutely right, Charlie.
There
We,
you go.
is that better?
No.
Go ahead, try again.
Hello. So what, want to make sure everybody knows that we already pay $70,000 a year to Bristol to do AMS. I'm not saying we don't need qualified people at all in this town, but people shouldn't step down because if there's a problem, right? They should step up. Come to the chief or come to the selectmen to say there is a problem, okay? Don't bring it to a public meeting and ridicule the fire department. Other thing is, I have call sheets right here. The calls that people have been on for this year. So if anyone would like to see these, I would be happy to show them to you. And I'm not trying to belittle anybody or be the fool or whatever, but I can show you these calls. The captain has put in some time and done an amazing job. There are some people here that have 2 calls for the entire year. 2 calls. And one of them spoke just a minute ago. I need to say a few things. I've been told that I've never been in a burning building. Right? That is so untrue. I want to bring up a friend, an ex-explorer, to talk in my behalf. And I also have a bunch of certified letters from other chiefs in the area because I was told the other side wouldn't work with me. Chief?
I'm not a town resident, so I'm
No,
all...
you don't have to be a town resident.
My name is Jeremy Bonan. I'm the chief of the Holderness Fire Department. Mark approached me about a week ago, kind of telling me some of the stuff that he was dealing with. We all know there's 2 sides to every story. I personally am going through some issues on my fire department. You're welcome to look at the select board minutes. We as a fire service right now are in a precarious spot. And I don't think it's any one location. We're hurting for help. We're hurting for people, obviously, that are trained. And I'm no different. I also pay an ambulance service much more than you folks to service my town. There's many times where we only have one EMS provider on that call, as Nate can attest because he works for that service. Honestly, I wouldn't be where I am today if it wasn't for Mark getting me involved in the fire service back 20-something years ago. He's a man of, to me, integrity and honesty. So I think the town should, obviously really think where they want the department to go and their services. Nate also mentioned the whole regionalization thing. I think that's a real issue and thought that a lot of towns should be really thinking, but unfortunately we're from New England and we don't want to give up our power for our towns. But at the bottom line, we need to think about why we joined this service, and that was to help our people. That's all I got.
Chief, can I ask, are you an on-call volunteer department, or are you a...
We have 22, names on our active roster as on-call, and I'm the first full-time fire chief for the town.
full-time paid chief?
Yep.
Holiness has a population of 2,000 full-time residents, and as you all know, we have a lake, and that probably goes up to 3,500, 4,000 in the summertime, depending on the time of day.
Thank you. Thank you. Do we have anybody else who would like to speak, please? Just raise your hand.
Over here,
Yeah.
behind us.
Jamie?
Jamie Moulton, 35 High Ridge Road, former chief. Question I want to ask, I understand you say we definitely need to have certification, but you got to keep your people happy and with leadership that they want to follow. A question I want to answer for Sean, during one of the select board meetings, we said Jamie put Mark in as deputy. Now why is it an issue?
It wasn't an issue.
Why? You asked this question.
No, I
During
made,
select board
I made a statement because people were questioning whether he was qualified to be chief. And my comment was, you appointed Mark to be
I did.
deputy chief.
I also appointed Mark as deputy chief with the knowledge, or I should say, the wrong knowledge. I was told he had Fire One. He had many years of service in the department. I appreciate that, but Fire One is still a stipulation to be able to lead people and train people. Fire One minimum, Fire Two, we'd like to have instructor. There's other things they would appreciate being had. Like Natalie had said, the state doesn't require any of these things, but we take these classes to learn to work together as a team, to learn how to lead people as a team. We all do the same things the same ways, and we all learn together all the new stuff. I guess I'll pass on that supposed question and continue on with, we all get this training from the time we start. We all start out with book work, we then have to take the physical classes, and we go through our Fire One. We go through our Fire Two. It all takes time, a lot of energy, and a lot of book work. We then choose to be an EMT, EMS. We go EMR, we get our EMT, we get our paramedic, whatever we choose to go to, so we can be better to facilitate our community. If you don't have this knowledge and background, and the state says you can be a firefighter, you can put on SCBA without taking any classes. Sure, I'm going to throw you in with a pack and say, go in the building and say something. You have no clue what to do, no clue what to do with the gear you have on, no clue how to work with other people. We have a police chief just hired. He went through years of training to get in the position he's in. You don't just come off the street and take these jobs and do it. Even if you were on a department and didn't get any certification, it is still hard to lead people without having that hands-on training and certification to know that we are doing it right. Because there's a lot of these, I've been on other departments, and we've always done it this way. My biggest, I hate that statement, and we keep teaching the old ways. I become a chief in another town recently. I am teaching the new ways. I'm constantly reading, I'm constantly taking classes. I have 12 pages of just the classes that are recorded with the state of New Hampshire, let alone the national classes and FEMA and all these things. This is stuff I'm trying to do better, to train the people that work under me or I work with, beside, in the trenches, in the fires, and in the station, to constantly make them better so they can be better firefighters. I don't care if I'm a better firefighter, I'm trying to make them better. And by learning new stuff, I'm getting them forward. These are not my people. These are people I work with, and they look to me to lead. Just like you look to me to be that leader and get those people in the right place, spend the money correctly, put the right equipment on them, and get the research. I was only on it for a little over 2 years. It takes longer than 2 years to learn a chief position if you've been a firefighter. It's very hard to climb up out of the trenches, throwing dirt, digging and pulling hoses, to suddenly be leading people and lead them correctly. I'm learning the hard way, and I'm willing to teach more and continue on. So the way this all happened was wrong. I'm still taking the scab off my back. So leave it at that. I will answer questions later.
Bob Schulte, 10 Crescent. My only question, and one of the reasons we called this meeting, was to discuss what the qualifications were going to be for the fire chief for Hill, New Hampshire. I personally, as a resident, want to know what are those qualifications going to be. You say you've had them for months, but we don't know what they are. We don't know what they say. Are we going to use the state of just experience? Are we going to have a requirement for certification? And I think as residents, we should have an input on that. It's not about personalities. We've heard all the stories. That's what they are, stories. I want to know who's running the fire department and that they're certified to do it. That's my statement. So just so folks know, so RSA 154.5, which is the RSA that we talked about, which discusses the fire chief. It lays out the minimum, which people don't. But what it also says is it's a position